should stop. Hello, Kristen. Hello, Chad. Jeannie.
Hey, Karen. Good to see you. So we are having some internet connectivity issues at United Way. So I'm going to run Annika's presentation from home.
Okay.
So as long as screen share is on
Fine.
for me, which it looks like it is disabled right now.
One click with the mouse and try it again.
Yep, looks like we're good now. And just to make things even more dramatic, we are still waiting for one thing at the office to upload so that we can show a video to you guys here. So I'll keep my eye on that and monitoring it so we get it all straight for Annika when she's able to join us.
For a video, you said?
Yes.
Would the video have audio?
Yeah.
Yes. And I know that button there needs to be clicked when I share my screen.
Correct.
Right. Technology is great when it works. Or when the user knows how to work it. I'm not gonna say anything else.
I think this is just like, I don't know, our internet is super slow on upload this morning, and then we got dropped off at 1.2. So I figured it'll be fastest or safest just to do it from home.
Yeah. Yeah, where I'm at, my neighbors are all waiting for MetroLink to show up and get connected because they're not happy with what they currently have, so. Other than that, everybody have a nice weekend. Good weekend. Got a little rain.
Did anyone notice that our one and only Karen had a birthday over the weekend?
It's no more birthdays, Jean. Come on, you know. Yes, I had a birthday yesterday. I survived another year. Thank you for noting. Yeah, you're right. Better be on the side of the daisies. Okay, here comes Anarchy.
Happy Monday.
Hello, Kelsey.
Hello.
How are you today?
Just great. Very fall day out there.
How are the... Yeah, all week it's going to be a chilly week.
Good football weather.
This is true.
Should be nice Saturday night, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
6:30 or whatever time the start is.
That's what they're saying.
So who has tickets to actually go to the game and be there in person?
Me,
Or you're going to go?
yeah.
You're going to go and be one of the 15,000?
We'll be a few of the 15,000.
Hi.
We're slowly getting under. Hi, Ronnie.
First time I've done this
How are
for
you, Ronnie?
the Rotary.
We've
Listen,
missed,
I'm
we've
doing very
missed
well, thank
you.
Look like you're looking for something, Ronnie.
Hey, there's Louie. My goodness, quite a gathering.
Yeah. Yeah. You doing well, Ronnie? You taking care of yourself?
Yeah,
You doing okay?
doing
Good.
very well, thank you.
Good.
Somebody has their TV on or radio or something.
I have to apologize.
I put him on mute. As we go forward.
We're at 25, 26. See if we can get back up to 50 or more.
Oh, it'll be slow, kind of slow like the weather today. That colder weather, people.
I just picked about 3 pounds of nice string beans.
Ooh. I picked the rest of the apples off my tree. The ones that didn't get blown down from the derecho. The derecho took all my pears. So,
I was out to DeMoss's on Saturday. They were selling pumpkins like they were going out of style.
people are anxious to get out. Get back to something normal.
If you've ever tried to make pumpkin pie out of those kind of pumpkins, it's worth trying just once, and that's all.
Yeah, no, you have to have the little sugar ones. My brother raises the little sugar ones and makes pumpkin glop for pumpkin pie. So the big pumpkins don't work for pumpkin pie.
There's a better substitute for pumpkin, like sweet potatoes. Better choice for pie. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Is the canned pumpkin like mostly squash though?
I don't know. Those kinds of things are not good in the can for making pies. You need the real McCoy, like you understand what it is.
So Barbara, this is Jean. I don't believe you. I think you should make me a pie so I can try it out.
I want to tell you, I make some of the very best sweet potato pies. I'm a great pie baker, seriously. So you need to check on me on the sideline. We can make that happen, okay?
That would be fantastic.
There's our new fundraiser.
Yeah. And a lot of hungry people.
Yeah. We have
Right.
we have that offer on recording, so.
That's good. That's good.
I believe also, is it Pam Elliott Kane and her family at Thanksgiving? They make pies and give pies away at Thanksgiving instead of Christmas. So we have a lot of pie bakers. We're getting up there,
42.
creeping up toward 50.
Anybody else want to
Whatever
throw
you
out
want.
their pie specialty? Anybody want to brag for a moment now that we're all hungry?
I do make a pretty good rhubarb custard pie.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh, there you go.
You give me the rhubarb, I'll make you a pie.
Do we have other people who grew up in the South online? Like South or whatever we consider South. Let's say drop below Missouri and go east and west. That's South.
From Mississippi, Alabama,
Georgia, Florida,
maybe
Texas.
maybe Eastern Tennessee.
For those of us from that region of the country, pecans are a great thing because you can grow the trees in your yard. So having pecan pies of various kinds are always a treat because you only go in the yard and pick them up. You don't have to spend $25 a pound.
Mm.
That's always helpful when they're coming right off the tree or out of your garden. Georgia, you have your hand up.
Georgia probably makes a pretty
Georgia
mean pie
Bloom.
too.
Oh yeah, Georgia Bloom has a connection anyway from Georgia. I think her daughter lives in Atlanta. So
She's still muted.
yeah. All right.
Well, we're up to 45. Let's go ahead. Oh, there's Georgia. Georgia, do you have anything to add to the pie discussion?
I go to the First United Methodist Church and buy pies that the pie ladies make down there, and you freeze them and then you take them out and you bake them, and they're wonderful.
Good sales pitch. Good job. So we're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. Welcome to the September 28th meeting of the Rotary Club of Ames. And the best way to start off our meetings generally is just to go ahead and have everyone mute, except for, in this case, Andrew Zbracki, who's going to serenade us with the welcome song. So take it away, Andrew.
All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to you from Ames Rotary, Nevada, London, or Gay Paris, from far off lands or the USA. We're glad that you are here today. Come back again whenever you're near. Join us and then we'll make it clear. Around the world you will always be welcome at Rotary.
Thank you, Andrew. And usually here at the beginning of our meetings, we also set aside a few minutes to offer our thoughts to those who might need an extra thought on this morning. I'm not aware of any specific club members or club family members at this point that need an extra thought or a prayer, but I think it's important to note that we do have a special birthday amongst us, and that was yesterday. Karen had her birthday. I'm sure it's still 29 or 39, and one of those important ones. And, you know, we can't say enough for all that Karen does for our club, tirelessly behind the scenes, lifting us up as a president. And I'm sure all the past presidents also can attest to, she makes us look really good. So Karen, thanks for all you do and all that you do in service for our club and for our community. And we're going to serenade you, or actually Andrew once again is going to serenade you with a happy birthday song.
Well, thank you. And I also want to note that today is Lynn Carey's birthday. So Lynn, you're on with me today. Thank you.
I'll combine them then. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you.
Awesome. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Happy birthday to both of you. As far as announcements go, just a couple things we want to make sure we talk about. I've tried to do a good job of keeping everyone up to speed on the polio updates. And so they do a good job of sending me some update emails. Again, this is 2 weeks in a row now that we've had 4 new wild cases of polio. This time it was 3 Pakistan and 1 Afghanistan. So those darn countries still for us continue to be a challenge as a club that's trying to eradicate that disease. So your continued support continues to be important in the battle to eradicate polio. And then aside from that, as you'll see here, we have to announce now that we are planning to meet in person in addition to continuing with our Zoom meetings. And so the way this is going to look is that it won't happen unless we can get hopefully more than 20 of us to sign up. And I think we're at 7 from what I hear earlier this morning. But we need at least 20 people who have a desire to go meet so that we can use our venue there at the Gateway Hotel in the garden room. Plenty of distancing opportunities. We would also be dining with a delicacy of a boxed lunch that the Gateway will put together for us. So again, that's another safe way to do that. But you need to email Karen ahead of time. That's important, and we actually need to know this week, preferably by Wednesday, I think, Karen. So don't wait till the last minute. And we're asking everyone that chooses to meet in person also just to pay for their meal in advance. So that'd be $16 for the box lunch charge, which obviously includes the meal and hopefully socially distanced fellowship, but also the use of the room. So we're excited because we continue to want to record and host these meetings over Zoom, but also to allow our presenters to continue to present over Zoom, which most of them probably will choose to do. But this just gives us another opportunity to also meet in person. So please, if you are interested, please do not wait. And please know that you just can't show up. We have to know in advance. Otherwise, unfortunately, we may not have enough to take on this hybrid mode. So please email Karen if you are interested. Thank you. And that's all I had for announcements. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Kelsey to unmute. Kelsey will be introducing our speaker for today. Thank you, Kelsey.
I'm unmuted. Yep, I'm unmuted. Hi there. I have the pleasure of introducing Annika Mundell. She has been the Community Impact Director at United Way of Story County since August of 2019. And prior to that, she worked in the educational field for nearly 20 years, including a decade as the program coordinator of DMAC, AIMS Adult Education and Literacy Program. And she was also, and for 4 years, she was with a tribal family literacy program in California. She has an MA in Native American Studies from UC Davis and an MA in Teaching from Drake University. She is also a mother of 2, so am I, and an active AIMS community member. Welcome, Annika.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the warm welcome, and to Andrew for that lovely welcome song and a birthday song to boot. So that was a fantastic way to kick us off. I would much rather visit with you in person. I think we're all getting used to these unusual formats, and I must say I'm excited for the opportunity to share United Way of Story County's work with you regardless of the platform. If I may say so, and my boss is on the line, I am a big fan of United Way's work. Indeed, over the past 13 months, I've seen firsthand why United Way is such a trusted community leader. Our work reminds me of a quote from the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. If you want to be a true professional, you will do something outside yourself, something to repair tears in your community, something to make life a little better for people less fortunate than you. That's what I think a meaningful life is, living not for oneself, but for one's community. United Way, along with our partners and supporters in the community, do exactly this. Together, we leverage the power of our community to repair tears and make life a little better for people less fortunate, thereby strengthening us all. We do so, as you well know, through our sustained focus on our 3 pillar areas of health, education, and financial stability, and also through a responsiveness to developing community needs. As you know, this year has presented us with an unusual triad of such community needs arising from the coronavirus pandemic, which is unfortunately still with us, the derecho, and also spotlighted by current racial equity struggles. So first to coronavirus, and Kristen, my able assistant here, she's my tech assistant, is moving through the slides. So hopefully she has better bandwidth. Hopefully we can coordinate the presentation. I know many of you have heard from Kristen, our campaign director, on the work done by United Way to assist with coronavirus response and recovery. So apologies for any of you who have heard her presentation and any repetitiveness. I will be brief on this section and add my own twist to it. So when the pandemic arrived in Iowa in mid-March, which to my recollection was Friday the 13th, quite an ominous day, United Way worked quickly. We helped find solutions both by convening and by participating in community collaborations. Problem-solving conversations centered around a myriad of new challenges that arose, from how to ensure essential workers would have childcare as schools and daycare centers closed, to how best to provide emergency financial assistance for those unemployed yet ineligible for state benefits. Here's a brief video called The Power of Community, which is a visual depiction of our work. So the need for solutions was clear at the start of the pandemic. As this graphic shows, if Kristen can hop into the next slide there, thank you. Calls to our statewide resource line, which is 211, increased over 800% from March and April of 2019 to March and April of 2020. United Way is uniquely equipped to help find solutions. We use what our fearless president and CEO, Jean Cressy, calls our superpower, namely an ability to bring diverse stakeholders to the table. This ability is born in part of our distinctive structure. We're part of a global network with global support and recognition, and at the same time we have local autonomy with longstanding relationships and trust. In late March and April, we were in phase 1, working to respond to the most urgent human service needs. This included communicating partner agency changes to the broader community, and those changes were happening fast and furious. By the hour, we were making updates, building out a website of resources, what has become Story County residents' one-stop spot for a host of needs. We have regularly updated food resources, financial assistance providers and protocols, mental health services, educational resources, and much more. We also coordinated with Story County Emergency Management, healthcare providers, and others to make a plan to ensure medical and other essential employees would have childcare if needed. And I believe Kristen gave a presentation about all we're doing in the area of childcare and the big concerns that there are today about that. Our response also included launching 2 special funds. One was the COVID-19 Response and Emergency Fund. We have raised approximately $125,000 to help partner agencies manage increased need or increased cost of delivering services safely. The emergency fund has helped subsidize various projects: a new sink at ACPC for sanitizing capabilities, masks for HERDA bus riders, lots of additional emergency rent and utility dollars, and much more. We keep getting unique requests. We also launched the Live United food drive. While we've hosted that in the past, to respond to coronavirus, we launched it immediately, and so it was early and fully online to help combat new food insecurity. We raised a record-setting $43,700, much of which we've already distributed to all 6 school-based pantries and 10 community-based pantries throughout Story County. The graph that you can see here comes from me and is one from the school-based pantries countywide. School-based pantries are those which have experienced the greatest increases in visitors. So for example, at Nevada's Cubby's Cupboard in February 2020, they had 93 visitors, which was a pretty typical month. And then by June 2020, they had 1,065 visitors. So that was a 1,045% increase. And those kind of increases we saw also in the Uwsc Community School District at their pantry, and those levels have been maintained. Our response also included something that I'm very proud of, which is supporting the immigrant community by convening a brand new collaboration, the COVID-19 Emergency Fund for Story County Immigrants. This initiative has been an absolute labor of love by a dozen tireless community volunteers who are responding to evidence that immigrants are among those hardest hit by the pandemic and are either ineligible or have experienced difficulty accessing state benefits. The results have been astonishing. We have raised more than $130,000 from community members and made, at this point, actually 354 rent and utility payments. We have assisted 92 unique immigrant households, of which 62% were from Latin America and 30% from Africa, and the other 8% from throughout the globe. And all of our survey respondents, every single one said that this helped reduce their household stress. We had ones note that their depression and anxiety were alleviated some, in addition to the very concrete realities of help with bills. In phase 2, which is recovery, we work to help folks adjust to changing circumstances. We did this through continuing with those phase 1 response projects, but also by providing virtual financial education programming and mentoring through our Women United program, and supporting our partner agencies' child care center operations. We have a little video here featuring Kate Reynolds of ChildServe. And as she says, coronavirus made us rethink everything, but United Way has been there through it all.
COVID-19 made us have to rethink everything, all of our processes, to how we greet children in the morning and how we say goodbye in the afternoon, how we played, how we cleaned, how we communicated, how we interacted with our friends, our families, the children that we serve. We had to change our staffing, we had to change our priorities, and this all came with a price tag. But the United Way of Story County was there for us. They supported us financially, they helped the community brainstorm unique ideas and solutions, and they cheered us on. So, from everyone here at ChildServe, from the bottoms of our hearts, we say thank you.
Thank you for helping us move forward together.
So that's such an astonishing video. Every time I see it, it makes me grin. We also work to support recovery in partnership with you. So we worked innovatively to promote learning. With schools closed since March, creativity was absolutely needed. United Way's Malai Amfar worked with Rotary, Ames Public Library, Ames Community Schools, community volunteers, and many others to acquire and distribute an astounding 7,081 books at meal sites in Ames. Big thanks are due for the donations to Rotary Club members, but also to those who supported this initiative with their boots on the ground and masks on their faces. And those are Chad Copley, Dean Phillips, Kathy Adams, Jean, and Rod Raugert. Thank you. While continuing with our response and recovery work, we are now also reimagining systems and building more resilient communities. We are doing this work in various ways, including by taking on equity work in a more robust and systematic way, and by advocating for systems change. While our local United Way has been engaged in equity work in some capacity for many years, we are now working to clearly articulate our equity vision to the community. Part of which involves, and Kristen's scrambling to find that part, part of which involves putting forward a clear definition of equity. And we are also gathering and sharing disaggregated data in our pillar areas of health, financial stability, and education. This data inarguably and painfully shows that there is a whole lot of work to be done in Story County. Finally, all this work is being overseen by our newer equity committee, which is comprised of esteemed community volunteers and our board member Matt Franco and Ames Middle School principal Jonas Michael as our inaugural co-chairs. As you know, we do our regular work just as we do our coronavirus response work and racial equity work, which is in partnership. Indeed, community issues cannot be addressed in vacuums. Problems facing our neighbors are interconnected and they compound on one another. To tackle these problems then, we work collaboratively with our strong coalitions, with subject matter experts, with business support, with volunteers, with community donors, and of course also with our partner agencies. We are proud to call these 32 agencies our partners. To tackle persistent problems, such as poverty, food insecurity, and homelessness, we also rely on data. And this is where I get put to work. In my position as Community Impact Director, I am charged with collecting, analyzing, and sharing data that asks the hard but important questions of how much did we do, how well did we do it, and is anyone better off? I ask this of our partners. I also ask this of ourselves. And this here is our recently reworked and approved strategy map, which you can probably tell from the small font has many performance measures. In fact, there are nearly 100 performance measures on which we assess ourselves. In turn, I am asked these same 3 results-based accountability questions by United Way Worldwide, by our community donors, and by our asset team who makes local investment decisions, all using this results-based accountability framework. Last year, I attended the Rotary Club September meeting, a full year ago, as a guest. Shortly beforehand, Kristen Pates took me aside, gulped, I swear, and said, I don't want to catch you off guard, so here's your heads up. I'm announcing to Rotary today that we are launching bold goals in 2020. In other words, the code was, Annika, you have some serious work to do in this next year. The good news is twofold. For one, I did not quit immediately. And second of all, along with our board and staff, we have in fact developed 3 ambitious bold goals, one for each impact area. So by 2025, we are committed to a goal both in, or actually all 3, in health, education, and financial stability. So now more about each goal. In health, our goal is to improve community health by serving 4,500 more people. Health, as we know, is a central tenet of a great quality of life. Good health keeps kids in school, it keeps adults employed, critically, it keeps people happy, and that keeps households stable. By investing in the health of 4,500 more residents from our baseline, the goal is to chip away at the inequities that keep people from succeeding and at the compelling concerns that motivate our work. For example, 16% of Story County residents are food insecure, which when we crunch the numbers represents 14,730 individuals. 10% of Story County residents have limited access to healthy foods. We hear about those food deserts, and that represents 8,707 individuals. 11% of Story County adults reported 14 or more days of poor mental health per month. And we know, given mental health stigmas, that this is an underrepresentation of the true numbers. And 12.5% of all youth deaths in Story County were by suicide in 2017, which has been a stark increase. We've seen a real pattern of increase in that over the last decade. In response, and to reach our bold goal, United Way is committed to funding programs and leading collaborations in healthy food, in mental health services, and in social connectedness. To monitor our progress, we use Clear Impact Scorecard. That's the results-based accountability data management system, which is quite a mouthful, so we often say RBA. Scorecard makes it possible for us to see our baseline, our targets. I'm going to zoom in there to the next, there we go, our targets, and whether we are on track. And you can see a clear visual of that here. The red indicates where we're hoping to be each year, and the baseline number is indicated in black there with 14,497. In education, if you flip to that slide, we seek to decrease the achievement gap by serving 30% more underserved learners by 2025. For years, the work of our local collaboration has been recognized by the National Campaign for Grade Level Reading. But this work does not actually start or end in third grade. Learning is a lifelong challenge. So some of the compelling concerns that motivate us are that 27.2% of Story County kindergarten students were not proficient in reading in the 18-19 school year. And 26.2%, a similar number of Story County third graders, were not reading proficiently in the 18-19 school year. And there also, in spite of a lot of work, continues to be a disparity in graduation rates. So as you can see here, students of color, students with disabilities, and students from families with limited incomes have graduated historically and to this day at lower rates than the average. So our response, and here comes the slide, is to fund programs and lead collaborations in high quality early childhood education, in parenting knowledge and skills, since we recognize parents as their kids' first and most important teachers, or caregivers as the first and most important teachers, grade level reading supports, and community-based education and awareness programs. Again, we are concerned about outcomes, and I certainly am concerned about outcomes in my position. Clear Impact provides space not only for the data, as you can see here, again with those baseline numbers and then the target numbers, but also for narratives that explain the data. And this is pretty powerful because this is a place then that folks can provide some explanation of the story behind the curve. Why are we seeing a dramatic increase or decrease? The partners that they're working with and the strategies that they're using to reach their goal. Finally, we have a financial stability goal, rounding it out. Our goal is to strengthen financial stability by increasing the number of people served by 25%. Thousands of Story County families are not in the financial position to weather even a small storm. And as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has been no small storm. People have struggled paycheck to paycheck, and that has just been augmented by the pandemic. The numbers of people looking for help with basic needs is staggering. In fact, we were recently working on what was a successful grant application to the Iowa Workforce Development. We worked with the Ames Chamber on that grant application, among other partners, and they gave us some numbers. They had kind of crunched some numbers and discovered that about 7,800 individuals were unemployed from late February to July, here alone in Story County. So we know that these compelling concerns in front of us here are actually understating, this is pre-COVID, these are pre-COVID numbers, these are understating the true level of need in our county right now. So prior to COVID, 21.5% of Story County individuals had incomes below the federal poverty level, representing again an astounding 18,527 individuals. 19% of Story County households experienced severe housing problems. So these are really the kind of the most extreme, right? So having overcrowding, high housing costs, lack of a kitchen, or lack of plumbing facilities. And for us, the high housing cost is often where we land. 6.9% of households in Story County receive cash public assistance or food stamps, which is also called SNAP. And only 22% of surveyed individuals in Iowa said they'd participated in financial education through school, college, or workplace. So meaning they don't feel like they have the tools to navigate the economics, essentially, and everyday work. So what do we do in response? Again, in order to remedy this and achieve our bold goal in financial stability, United Way of Story County commits to funding programs and leading collaborations in emergency food and homelessness prevention, in employment support, and in financial education. Again, we have Clear Impact Scorecard to monitor our progress. Additionally, We use this tool to collect something called What Works, annual impact stories. This is one way for us to go beyond the numbers and share the human side of our work, the impact. Pictured here is a recent impact story from the Center for Creative Justice, who does nonprofit probation work, and excerpts from their impact story during COVID-19. So you can see that they moved to online. They knew they had to do more to protect their clients. They moved to phone appointments from the safety of their own homes. And now they've actually gravitated back toward the office, but with a whole bunch of protocols in place. These goals, these 3 bold goals, may seem lofty. And yes, some may question whether they are achievable, particularly given our current realities. My response is that this triad of pandemic, of derecho, of racial equity struggles have spotlighted the inequities in Story County, making crystal clear that our bold goals are absolutely necessary. At the same time, these challenges have brought out some of the absolute best in our community. Time and again, we see neighbors selflessly helping neighbors, from sewing masks to assisting each other with tree and debris removal after the derecho. This gives me hope, and it makes me believe that achieving our bold goals is possible. Before I close, we would like to share with you the brand new 2020 campaign video. It is in fact so new that I have not yet even had a chance to view it. It came online, I think, about 2 minutes before we started this presentation. So I'm delighted to view the campaign video with you now.
Several months, United Way of Story County has responded to community needs in a very significant way. Now that our campaign is underway, we know our needs are even greater than ever. Please join us in helping us meet the needs of individuals and families in Story County. Your gift can make a difference.
Well, there we go. And I think Steve was on the call. So at least you were breaking up a little on my end, Steve, but the message was, please support us. And I would like to thank you so much for your time and attention today. And thank you for your ongoing support as you give, advocate, and volunteer for the United Way of Story County. If you have any questions or comments, I certainly welcome them now or by email or phone down the line.
Thank you for your awesome presentation. Thank you for all you do. I couldn't even tell that Kristen was running those. You guys made that look like it was just so easy. One person running the slideshow who wasn't even in the same place as the other. So very well done. And what questions do we have for our United Way team today? If you want to, go ahead and put them in the chat, or feel free to raise your hand and we'll try to keep our eyes open to make sure that we can unmute you and you can ask a question. Seeing any questions yet? Anyone? Come on, they did such a good job. Oh, here we go.
Could we have her contact information put back up on the slide?
So there's been a request to have your contact information shared one more time. There we go. Take a picture of it with your phone. Question for Steve Goodhue here. It looks like the question for you was, what has motivated you to serve?
Sure. Gene, thanks for that question. Didn't realize you were going to ask that. But let me say, first of all, thank you to Rotary for giving us the opportunity to present today. Annika, I thought did a terrific job and hopefully gave you a little better sense of some of the community impact goals that the organization has put forth and will work toward over the next 5 years. But I've been involved, much like many of you on this call today, in a number of community activities over the years, from chamber to city council to others. And United Way is one of those organizations that really touches my heart. I think they do a terrific job of identifying needs in the community and then marshaling resources to meet those needs. And our campaign is really, in many respects, has been underway for the past 6 months. As Annika mentioned, we've been working hard to meet some of those needs, and we're working hard to raise funds right now. This club as a whole has been terrifically supportive in the past of helping to fund videos, and I think Annika mentioned book distribution, and many of you are individual donors and supporters. Many of you operate employee campaigns, and just really appreciate all the support that you all have given. So it's been a really rewarding experience for me this past year, and I've enjoyed, we're not done yet, but I've enjoyed being a part of this campaign and being campaign chair.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for serving. And another question also from Jean. Could the Bridge House start eating at Food at First? No, that's not a, let's see. Jean, was that a question to someone specifically?
I think that was from Jeannie Rokert.
Oh, sorry.
I'm guessing maybe that I can answer that. This is Steve at the Bridge Home. Many of our clients do go there already and participate in that, especially right now while we have a lot of folks being housed in the hotel rooms. They are using that that resource, and we do partner with them even when they're here, when our clients are here in the main shelter. We always go over with our clients for Thanksgiving. I believe they do a big Thanksgiving meal, and we take them over there for that. So we do partnering with them. They're a great resource for us as well as the whole community.
Jody, thank you for answering that. The reason that I did ask it is because so many people you have housed in separate areas where we used to be able to bring food right to the Bridge House, and you answered the question for me. So I thank you.
Good, thank you. Question from Warren Madden here to one of our United Way representatives. Does anyone know how many children are currently homeless in Story County?
So the handy thing is, I can't give you a fixed number, and maybe Jody can give you a better number. However, thanks to Clear Impact Scorecard, I saw the question. I was pulling up the YSS data. So to give us some idea, since YSS is a partner agency and we do fund the Rosedale Shelter and also the Transitional Living Program, those are both programs that house homeless youth. I can give you a rough idea. So at Rosedale in the fiscal year 1920, there were 39 Story County based youth that received services. And that's emergency kind of crisis shelter. And then in the Transitional Living Program, which are longer term homeless and housing needs, there were 26 households served. So sometimes it's a one parent household with a single kid, sometimes it's a 2-parent household, but they count by household. Did I answer your question, Warren?
I will add to that because we also serve children. We serve children that have families. YSS serves children that are alone, without parents or without family. So we serve families that are homeless, and our average in a year, so if we serve between 650 and 700 individuals a year. Of those individuals, about 21% of them are children under the age of 17. So that means that's families. We have a lot of families. We have 1, 4, 5, 6 families, I believe, right now actually in shelter. And I believe we have at least 2 or 3 on our waiting list to get into shelter. And I do have more numbers on family breakdowns and things of, where are they, who are they, those types of stuff. But there's definitely, and a lot of these families are working homeless. They can't afford the cost of living in our county. So that's one of the reasons we do see so many families. But I'm happy to get more details on that offline if anybody would like to learn a little bit more about that.
Thank you. Good
Well, and I
question.
think the complexity too is that the numbers that we would have, so what Jody has and what I'm listing from YSS, are those who seek shelter. So we do know, we were Bridge Home. I was also part of that. Did the point in time homelessness count just before the coronavirus pandemic hit. We'd planned to do a second one in July, and that does attempt to count folks who are not necessarily housed and homeless. And we were hearing a lot of concern at that point that there were quite a number of youth that were actually sleeping up on top of one of the churches in Nevada, and lots of other youth, of course, that were doubled up or tripled up on kind of couch surfing. So they weren't bubbling to the level that they were being counted, but in fact are also homeless. So again, I think our numbers, don't fully capture the level of need.
And that is accurate, Annika. When those counts are done, we don't count couch surfing, but they do have numbers of those that are are couch surfing, and it's alarmingly high of families that are doubled up or even tripled up. So they really, while we can't count them as homeless, they're really not housed, and that's a whole different number that is really makes you uncomfortable when you start digging into the details like that a little more. But we do know some of the numbers, and I won't get into them right now because there's a lot of them, but in our next newsletter that will be coming out in October, we are going to be talking about some of the numbers and looking at, those that are couch surfing versus those that are actually on the street, which is how the government defines it as homeless, is that on the street.
Thank you all. A question from David Hansen. He thanks you for sharing the Emergency Immigrant Fund information. For much needed donations, should donations be sent to the United Way for this fund, and what has happened to demand for that program?
So thank you, David. David is actually also involved with our fund. He's a fantastic supporter. I'm assuming this is my same David Hansen. We've never met each other in person. We do everything over the phone because a lot of our Immigrant Fund volunteers don't feel comfortable with, this fancy schmancy technology here. And so we do a lot over the phone, so I don't even always have faces to put to names. But the Immigrant Fund donations can go to St. Cecilia if anyone's interested. So they're the nonprofit arm that is housing the fund. And so their address is 2900 Hoover Ave here in Ames. And we also do have a GoFundMe that we started. We have some youthful participants, some youthful volunteers who said that not everybody has a checkbook or stamps. Thank you very much. And so we went ahead and started a GoFundMe for those that wanted to do online donations. And David, unfortunately, the need has not decreased. It has stayed very much stable. We have had a few of those 92 unique households that have been able to return to some work. But it's the minority. There's, I believe, maybe a handful that have been able to return to work. The vast majority still are either laid off or have such reduced hours that they're not able to support their families. And what makes these particular households so vulnerable is that they are not eligible. A number of them were working under an individual taxpayer ID number, so they were paying taxes, but they're not eligible for government government assistance programs or unemployment. And so they actually have no safety net. And so the need has stayed very high, and it's been a concern for us because we, I think at this point, have $2,000 or maybe is it $4,000 balance. We've distributed $135,000. So we're giving out the money as quickly as we're getting it, trying to think creatively in terms of applying for grants and that kind of thing. But there definitely is a high need.
Thank you. Other questions? Thumbs up from David on those. A good answer. Other questions?
Jump in?
Yeah, Jean, jump in.
I just wanted to let everybody know that our statewide association, United Ways of Iowa, is working with the University of Northern Iowa to do a kind of a snapshot in time study for individuals and families throughout Iowa, where they were financially pre-COVID, during COVID, and where they anticipate they will be financially post-COVID, whenever that is. We know that if we can get over 50 people to complete the survey, we will actually have countywide data. So I will be sending that out, hopefully to Karen at some point with the link. And I hope that all of our viewers today can help us share that out with everybody and anybody. But it'll help us understand better what's going on in Story County and how we can recover together.
Thank you. Any other questions for our guests while we have them with us? No, not seeing any, but thank you to all of you. Thank you, Annika, for your presentation. Thank you, Kristen, for your technology and teamwork. Jean, for your comments that help support what's going on here. Steve, for leading this effort. Thank you. And for David Hansen and others that are continuously involved. Jeannie Rokert with handing out books. Thank you for all of you and what you do. Next week, our presentation will be Devin Graham, and he'll be speaking about an Amazon project that he's been involved with. So that should be interesting. Again, as a reminder, hopefully you were all paying attention to our speakers today and you weren't emailing Karen that you wanted to come to our in-person meeting next week, but that's something that now I just thought I would remind everyone, if you want to go, great, but you got to let Karen know ahead of time. So thank you for considering. My thought for the day, or I guess quote for the day here. So I've heard this many times, and I don't know, I've heard it called an African proverb or an African saying, but I love this quote. And if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I thought that really fit with what the power of community for the kickoff for the United Way and how they bring together all of these volunteers, all of these resources, and the 32 partner agencies that are going farther together than they would be capable of doing on their own. So thank you for all that you do. And thanks for being a part of sharing that with a Rotary today. So maybe we'll see some of you in person next week, maybe not, but we will continue the Zoom meetings, and we'll look forward to seeing you all. And congratulations to the Cyclones on their coming through and looking a lot better than they did a few weeks ago. So we're going to go ahead now with our four-way test. In all that we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Have a good week, everybody.